The 1980s were a time of color, creativity, and connection, when life felt simpler, yet somehow fuller. From neon lights to mixtapes and mall hangouts, every moment told a story worth remembering. So let us rewind the tape and relive 30 things everyone misses from the 1980s. Back in the 1980s, there was no greater joy for a kid than waking up before everyone else, grabbing a bowl of the sweetest cereal possible, and planting yourself right in front of the television. You did not need streaming services or on-demand buttons. All you needed was Saturday morning. The lineup was sacred, colorful worlds full of heroes like He-Man, Thundercats, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The commercials were just as exciting as the shows themselves, teasing the next toy you had to convince your parents to buy. The sugary crunch of cereal like Fruit Loops or Cocoa Puffs mixed perfectly with the flashing lights of your favorite cartoon intro. It was a moment of freedom, of childhood wonder, and of feeling like the world was yours before anyone else even woke up. That small ritual defined weekend happiness. And when the final cartoon ended and the screen shifted to local news or golf, you knew the magic was over, at least until next week. But when those cartoons faded, something else took their place. The ultimate hangout spot for every teen and preteen of the 1980s, the mall. The mall was more than a shopping center in the 1980s. It was an ecosystem of youth, energy, and independence. You were not going there just to buy things. You went to meet friends, flirt, eat pretzels, or maybe just walk in circles until someone you knew showed up. The mall was freedom wrapped in neon lights and the smell of popcorn. Arcade machines lined corners, clothing stores blasted pop hits, and food courts became gathering spots for laughter and gossip. You did not text your friends. You simply agreed to meet at the fountain, and somehow it always worked. It was a time before algorithms decided what you liked. You discovered things by exploring. The mall was where fashion trends were born, friendships deepened, and countless teenage love stories began and ended. The art of just hanging out, of doing nothing and everything, was its own kind of magic. And when you finally got home, the energy of that day often found its way into something even more personal. The soundtrack of your life, recorded one song at a time on a mixtape. Making a mixtape in the 1980s was not about quick playlists or algorithms. It was an act of love, patience, and personality. You sat by the radio, finger hovering over the record button, waiting for your favorite song to play without a disc jockey talking over it. Each mixtape told a story, sometimes for yourself, sometimes for someone special. Every transition mattered. Every fade-in was intentional. You would handwrite the song list on the cassette insert, maybe decorate it with doodles or a note. The hiss of the tape, the slight imperfections, they gave it soul. It was analog art at its finest. The mixtape was more than music. It was emotion preserved on magnetic tape. It said things words could not. It connected hearts before social media existed. You might have replayed side A until it wore thin, but every rewind felt worth it. And after a long week of recording songs and perfecting your mix, there was no better way to enjoy it than gathering friends for the next big event. Movie night, complete with a rented VCR and the latest VHS hit. Before streaming and smart televisions, renting a VCR in the 1980s was a full-on adventure. Families who did not own one would pick it up from the local video store. A large, boxy machine with chunky buttons and cables that felt like handling treasure. You would carry it home carefully, connect it to the television, and suddenly, your living room became a private cinema. Renting movies was an event. Choosing the right one took time and debate. Would it be a classic action flick, a horror film, or a comedy everyone could laugh at? The VHS tape box was a promise of fun, and the rewind sticker a reminder of your duty. Watching movies together meant pausing for snacks, laughing at bloopers, and arguing over who forgot to rewind last time. There was something magical about dimming the lights, pressing play and hearing that fuzzy VHS hum. It was togetherness in its purest form. No distractions, no notifications, just the movie and your people. And when the credits rolled, the fun often continued the next day with toys that had stories of their own, none more famous than the cuddly kids everyone wanted to adopt. Few toys captured hearts in the 1980s like the Cabbage Patch Kids. Each doll came with its own name, birth certificate, and adoption papers, making every child feel like a real parent. It was more than just a toy. It was a family moment. Kids lined up in stores and parents hunted for them like treasure during the holiday rush. The soft faces and yarn hair gave them an oddly human touch, each one unique. Bringing one home felt like an accomplishment, and proudly filling out that adoption certificate made it official. It was imagination grounded in emotion, a child's first sense of responsibility and care. Many kids still remember the scent of the box, the feel of the doll's fabric, and the joy of introducing their new baby to friends. It was wholesome, warm, and deeply personal. The Cabbage Patch Kids were not just toys, they were memories that stayed long after the playtime ended. And as the 1980s continued, another kind of collectible craze would take over homes, schoolyards, and imaginations. One made of stickers, gum, and wild, wacky designs. There was something deeply satisfying about the sound of a cassette tape door closing in the 1980s. That solid clunk was not just mechanical, it was emotional. It meant your favorite album was about to start, or that the mixtape you spent all week perfecting was ready for another listen. The cassette player was an essential part of everyday life, in bedrooms, in cars, even strapped to your hip inside a chunky Walkman. The gentle click as you pressed play or record had a rhythm all its own. You could flip the tape, rewind it with a pencil, and listen for the soft hiss before the first notes played. It felt real, tangible, and alive. Music was not background noise. It was an experience. Every song had weight. Every side told a story. And if you were lucky, you had the perfect pair of foam-covered headphones to block out the world while you disappeared into your soundtrack. But when you finally took those headphones off and stepped outside, another kind of rhythm awaited you. One built on laughter, scraped knees, and the sound of bicycle tires hitting the pavement. Before phones and social media, the neighborhood ruled everything. Every block had its own kid hierarchy. The fastest biker, the best tree climber, the one who owned the basketball hoop, and the one with the coolest toys. Summer days were spent outside from sunrise until the streetlights came on. Your bike was your identity, decorated with stickers, streamers, and sometimes baseball cards clipped to the spokes for that signature flutter sound. Riding in a pack with your friends made you feel unstoppable, like a superhero team on patrol. Every adventure started with a simple question. Where are we going today? Maybe to the park, the corner store, or just around the block until something interesting happened. It was freedom without rules, powered by pedaling and imagination. The neighborhood was your universe, and your friends were your co-commanders. The only technology you needed was a good pair of sneakers and a sense of direction. And when the sun dipped low and the last bikes rolled home, another familiar ritual was waiting. A quiet, glowing television and the sound of a national anthem marking the end of the day. In the 1980s, fast food was more than a quick meal. It was an event, and the toys that came with it were pure gold to a kid. Whether it was a set of transforming burgers from McDonald's, a glittering cup from Pizza Hut, or themed glasses from a new movie release, every collectible felt priceless. The excitement of unwrapping your burger and fries was matched only by the thrill of discovering what toy you got that day. You could line them up, trade them, or beg your parents to go back next week to get the one you missed. These little plastic treasures often outlasted the meals themselves, proudly displayed on bedroom shelves or carried in backpacks. They connected kids across neighborhoods. Everyone wanted to complete the set. The jingles, the logos, and even the greasy smell of the bag became part of the memory. And while fast food collectibles filled our shelves, there was another collectible that filled our imaginations. Smaller, shinier, and hidden inside a simple cardboard wrapper, waiting to be peeled open with hope and excitement. Few sensations hit quite like the first whiff of a freshly opened pack of trading cards. The faint mix of ink, wax paper, and gum instantly told you that something special was about to happen. Whether it was baseball cards, garbage pail kids, or movie tie-ins, those tiny rectangles held entire worlds. You carefully flipped through each one, hoping for that rare card that would make your friends jealous. The stick of gum that came inside was always stale, but you chewed it anyway, because it was part of the ritual. Collections were built through patience and luck, one pack at a time. Kids would meet on playgrounds or front porches to trade doubles, argue over value, and show off prized finds kept safely in plastic sleeves. Every card had a story, a connection to a time and place that felt simple and real. Opening a pack was not just about what was inside. It was about the anticipation. And as those cards stacked up, they became part of a bigger memory. One that would soon be shaped by the glowing arcades, flashing lights, and coins clinking into the next chapter of 1980s fun. In the 1980s, arcades were more than just rooms filled with blinking lights and noisy machines. They were a full-blown social experience. You did not go alone. You went with your friends, quarters jingling in your pockets, ready to conquer your favorite game. The arcade was electric with energy. The hum of machines, the smell of popcorn and pizza, and the laughter and cheers of people crowded around cabinets like Pac-Man, Galaga, or Street Fighter. There was no online leaderboard. Your name, or whatever initials you typed in, was your badge of honor. You learned patience by waiting your turn, and respect by watching someone skilled play their way to a high score. It was competitive, but also deeply communal. Friendships were built on those glowing screens. Sometimes, even your crush would show up, pretending not to notice you, while secretly hoping to team up for a two-player game. The arcade was freedom. Fun and belonging rolled into one, and when you stepped outside, the world felt a little quieter, the lights dimmer, except for the neon glow that waited around every corner, painting the night in color and promise. The 1980s glowed in ways no other decade ever did. Neon signs were everywhere, buzzing above diners, flickering through mall food courts, and lighting up storefronts like colorful beacons of life. There was something hypnotic about those lights, whether it was a pink open sign buzzing outside your favorite pizza place or a bright blue logo glowing above the arcade. The air seemed warmer, the nights felt longer, and every color hummed with energy. Neon was not just decoration, it was part of the atmosphere. It gave cities their pulse and malls their soul. When you walked into a restaurant with neon lights reflecting off chrome chairs and glass tables, it felt like stepping into a dream where everything shimmered. Those glowing tubes defined the 1980s aesthetic. Bold, bright, and unafraid to be loud. The light seemed to promise that fun was always just around the corner. And sometimes, that corner led straight to another 1980s staple, a place where the disco ball spun endlessly, where music, laughter, and the sound of rolling wheels created a rhythm that every kid knew by heart. Roller rinks were the heartbeat of the 1980s social scene. They were where birthdays were celebrated, crushes were discovered, and memories were made under a mirror ball spinning to Madonna or Michael Jackson. The music pounded through the speakers, lights danced across walls, and the carpet, that wild swirl of neon patterns, was unforgettable. It was a place where shy kids found courage, where cool kids showed off their moves, and everyone else just tried not to fall. Renting those brown, worn-out skates felt like stepping into another world, a world that smelled faintly of popcorn and hairspray. The roller rink was equal parts magic and chaos, filled with laughter, spilled sodas, and the occasional awkward slow skate. Parents sat on the benches, watching with knowing smiles, remembering when they did the same thing years before. And when the lights dimmed for the couple's skate, you could feel every heartbeat a little faster. It was innocence, freedom, and excitement rolled into one smooth glide. And when the music stopped and you headed home, there was still one more thrill waiting. One that came in the mailbox, promising dreams and gadgets on glossy pages. Long before online shopping existed, the 1980s had something far more magical. The mail-order catalog. Whether it was the thick Sears book or the colorful pages of Toys R Us, these catalogs were doorways to imagination. Every glossy page was a promise. Toys, clothes, furniture, and gadgets you could only dream of owning. Kids would circle their favorites, fold corners, and leave the book open for parents to accidentally see. Adults browsed with equal excitement, planning holiday gifts or just admiring what they could not yet afford. The act of ordering something was an event, filling out a form, mailing it in, and waiting weeks for that brown box to arrive. The anticipation made it all the more rewarding. The catalogs themselves became part of the home, stacked on coffee tables, shared among siblings, and revisited until the pages wore thin. They were wish lists, time machines, and magazines all rolled into one. And while the catalogs fueled dreams of what might arrive in the mail, there was something else filling our living rooms. Catchy tunes from television commercials that we can still hum word for word, even decades later. In the 1980s, commercials were more than just breaks between shows. They were entertainment in their own right. Every product seemed to have its own catchy jingle that stuck in your head for days. Whether it was, "I want my baby back ribs," or "Have a Coke and a smile," those tunes became the soundtrack to daily life. You could not fast forward or skip them. You watched them, you sang them, and you remembered them. The melodies were simple, the lyrics unforgettable, and the charm completely genuine. These jingles had a kind of optimism that fit perfectly with the decade, full of energy, color, and cheer. Even decades later, people can hum the tunes from cereal ads, soda campaigns, or fast food commercials like they were hit songs. They brought families together around the television, sparking laughter and sing-alongs during dinner. Commercials were not something to skip, they were something to enjoy. And when the music faded and the show returned, it carried you right back into the glowing warmth of 1980s entertainment. A world filled with sitcom laughter, big hair, and endless charm waiting just beyond the next episode. Before screens ruled every evening, the heart of the 1980s home often beat around a dining table covered in board games. Family game night was sacred, a time when laughter, competition, and the occasional argument created memories that still linger today. Games like Monopoly, Clue, and Life were more than entertainment. They were rituals. The shuffle of cards, the clatter of dice, and the proud shout of "I won" filled living rooms with warmth. Parents became opponents, siblings turned into teammates, and victory meant bragging rights until the next round. There were no glowing screens, no distractions, just faces illuminated by soft lamplight and genuine connection. Even losing felt special because it meant being part of something shared. Those simple moments taught patience, fairness, and the joy of play. It was not about the prizes, it was about the time spent together. And when the night wound down, the laughter would fade into soft chatter, maybe a bowl of popcorn left half-eaten on the table. That sense of togetherness was pure magic, the kind that carried over into other family traditions, like piling into the car for a night under the stars at the local drive-in theater. Few experiences captured the 1980s spirit like a night at the drive-in. Families, friends, and young couples all gathered under the open sky, their cars lined up in neat rows facing the giant glowing screen. The air buzzed with anticipation, headlights flickered off, and the sound crackled through tinny speakers hooked to the window. The smell of popcorn mixed with the crisp night air as kids snuggled in blankets and parents shared knowing smiles. Teenagers whispered, laughed, and sometimes fogged up the windows for reasons only they knew. The drive-in was freedom. No dress codes, no ushers, just the comfort of your own car and the magic of the movies. Even the previews felt special, promising stories bigger than life. When the credits rolled, the screen would dim, and car engines slowly roared back to life, lighting up a field of nostalgia. The drive home felt cozy, filled with chatter about favorite scenes or plot twists. That simple joy of watching a movie beneath the stars faded as indoor theaters took over. But even today, one glance at an empty lot, and you can almost hear the faint hum of film reels spinning, a sound that often found its way into the background of family photo albums. Before every moment was uploaded and forgotten, memories were printed, held and cherished inside heavy photo albums. Every family had one, thick, leather-bound books filled with glossy pages that told the story of their lives. Each snapshot had its own story, a crooked smile, a holiday morning, a backyard barbecue, or a blurry birthday party. The smell of photo paper, the crackle of the plastic sleeves, and the handwritten captions underneath made every page feel alive. You could flip through your childhood with your fingers, feeling the texture of time itself. These albums were passed around during gatherings, sparking laughter, storytelling, and the occasional tear. They were more than just pictures. They were proof that moments mattered. Unlike digital files, these photos aged gracefully, their colors fading, but their meaning deepening. The act of creating an album was an event, not just an upload, and when guests visited, it was natural to pull one out and say, "Remember this." Those memories, frozen in print, gave a warmth that pixels could never replicate. And as those photo albums filled with images from family trips, they were often soundtracked by something unforgettable. The movie soundtracks that defined an entire era of emotion and style. In the 1980s, movie soundtracks were not just background music, they were cultural milestones. Every hit film came with songs that instantly became anthems. When Footloose, Top Gun, or Dirty Dancing hit theaters, the music carried the emotion far beyond the screen. People did not just watch the movies, they lived them through the songs. You could walk down the street and hear those soundtracks blasting from car stereos, boomboxes, and mall speakers. Each song captured the essence of the film and the spirit of the decade. Energetic, romantic, and full of heart. Owning the cassette or vinyl of your favorite movie soundtrack was a badge of pride. It was how fans kept the magic alive after the credits rolled. You could close your eyes, hit play, and be right back in the theater again, feeling every beat and emotion. Those soundtracks turned films into shared experiences that lingered long after the lights came up. And as those songs played in bedrooms and living rooms, one group of kids was already outside, up before sunrise, learning the first lessons of independence. Not through music, but through the quiet rhythm of early morning paper routes. There was something empowering about being a kid with a paper route in the 1980s. It was often a first job, a first taste of responsibility, and a quiet adventure before the world woke up. You would sling that heavy canvas bag over your shoulder, stuffed with freshly printed newspapers still warm from the press. The smell of ink hung in the cool morning air as bike tires crunched on dewy pavement. Each house on your route had its own rhythm. A porch light left on, a barking dog, a customer who always waved. You learned punctuality, determination, and the value of hard work long before smartphones and apps made everything instant. The quiet hum of those mornings was peaceful, a rare moment of solitude for a young mind. Collecting payment each week meant knocking on doors and greeting people by name, building a sense of connection that no app could replace. Those early mornings built character and confidence, teaching lessons that lasted far beyond childhood. And after finishing the route, many of those young paper carriers would return home, drop their bikes on the lawn, and sit down to watch cartoons or play games, reminding us that the 1980s always balanced hard work with simple joy. Before screens ruled every evening, the heart of the 1980s home often beat around a dining table covered in board games. Family game night was sacred, a time when laughter, competition, and the occasional argument created memories that still linger today. Games like Monopoly, Clue, and Life were more than entertainment. They were rituals. The shuffle of cards, the clatter of dice, and the proud shout of "I won" filled living rooms with warmth. Parents became opponents, siblings turned into teammates, and victory meant bragging rights until the next round. There were no glowing screens, no distractions, just faces illuminated by soft lamplight and genuine connection. Even losing felt special because it meant being part of something shared. Those simple moments taught patience, fairness, and the joy of play. It was not about the prizes, it was about the time spent together. And when the night wound down, the laughter would fade into soft chatter, maybe a bowl of popcorn left half-eaten on the table. That sense of togetherness was pure magic, the kind that carried over into other family traditions, like piling into the car for a night under the stars at the local drive-in theater. The 1980s were more than just a decade. They were a feeling, a rhythm, a glow that still lingers in every memory we revisit. If these moments brought a smile or stirred a little nostalgia in your heart, share your favorite 1980s memory in the comments. Give this video a like and subscribe to keep the past alive, one story at a time.